Dear students, I, Dr. Nidhi Sharma, Assistant Professor of Chemistry, First Year Engineering Science Department, today is going to explain you the spectroscopic techniques, unit number 5. In that unit number 5, there are two parts, UV visible spectroscopy and IR spectroscopy. So, first slide is based on UV visible spectroscopy. The weightage of this unit is 18 marks, and this unit is divided into two parts, UV visible and IR spectroscopy. So both the parts having 99 marks weightage. Like the questions are going to come in this way. Question 5 will be having three parts, A, B, C. So the A part is going to have 7 marks weightage, UV visible only. B part, maybe the give reason on UV visible or on IR, 6 marks, and IR spectroscopy specifically part C for 5 marks, and the reverse is going to be like question number 6, 7 marks, A part, B 6 marks, and C 5 marks. This is a presentation which is based on UV visible spectroscopy. This is part 1. In this part 1, I am going to describe about the basic terminology used in spectroscopy, what are the principles which are involved in spectroscopy, and how the UV visible spectrophotometer works. First, we will understand what is spectroscopy. Whenever any matter is subjected to electromagnetic radiation, there is an interaction between matter and the radiation. Due to that, the spectra will be observed, and this study is called spectroscopy. Now, how we gain the spectra? Actually, the electromagnetic radiations either emitted or absorbed by the sample during the interaction, due to which there is a generation of the spectrum. Now, actually these radiations are consist of packets of energy which are called photon, and the energy of one photon is equal to hc by lambda, and if suppose we are going to calculate the total energy, then the formula will be nhc by lambda. Now, during this propagation of electromagnetic radiation, electrical and magnetic components oscillate at right angles to each other and right angle to the direction of propagation of wave. This is very important. Both are perpendicular. Electric field and magnetic field are perpendicular to the direction of propagation of wave. They possess both wave and particle property. Interaction of radiation with matter. As you can see, there are different zones in electromagnetic spectrum. In this zone, the main concern, the unit 5 is based on UV visible and IR spectroscopy. So this UV visible region comes into 200 to 780 nanometer range, where the excitation of electron takes place. In absorption in IR range, which is from 2.5 to 50 microns, it causes the vibration of electron. So means in UV visible range there is a excitation of electron. In IR region there is a vibration of molecule. Molecule vibrates, stretching and bending takes place of the form. If there is a absorption of microwave, due to the microwaves absorption, the rotation of molecule takes place. If there is a absorption of radio waves, then the nuclear magnetic resonance will occur. Now, if you compare the energy required for different types of excitation, for different types of movement, then the maximum energy is required for electronic excitation, then the vibrational excitation, and then after that the rotational. UV visible spectroscopy is based on two laws, Lambert's law and Bayer's law. So what is Lambert's law? when a monochromatic radiation is passed through a solution, there is a decrease in the intensity of incident light, and it is directly proportional to the thickness or path length of the solution. It means like when we are passing a monochromatic light, and suppose if we have kept some chemical solution in our test tube which is having thickness x or the path length x, after the absorption of incident radiation, when the light comes out, the intensity of that transmitted light is less, and that decrease in the intensity of the light is directly proportional to the thickness of the solution. So in short, if we just want to describe this Lambert's law formula, Lambert's law, then the formula is IT is equal to I naught e raised to the power minus k1 x. Here k is the constant and x is the thickness of the solution. Beer's law states that when a monochromatic radiation is passed through a solution, then decrease in the intensity of incident radiation is directly proportional to the concentration of the solution. More will be the concentration of the solution, the absorption of incident radiation will be more, hence the transmitted light intensity will be less. So if we combine both the law, it is called Beer-Lambert's law or Lambert-Beer's law. So according to that, the decrease in the intensity of radiation is directly proportional to the concentration of the solution and the path length of the solution. And it is observed that the absorbance A is equal to log I naught by IT, which is equal to K into X into C. So here K is absorptivity constant, C is the concentration of the solution, and X is the path length of the solution. The path length we will measure in centimeters. The concentration will be in gram per liter. So if A is written as A epsilon X into C, so here epsilon is a molar absorptivity or molar extinction coefficient. There is very important relationship between absorbance and transmittance. Absorbance and transmittance, these are the two terms which are reciprocal of each other. Means if the absorption of light is more, the the transmittance of the incident radiation will be less, and if the absorbance of the light is less, the transmittance of the light will be more. So how we write the relationship? A is equal to log 1 by T or minus log T. Now to verify the Beer-Lambert's law, we can take the help of the graph. In this graph, on y-axis taking absorbance and on x-axis we will take the concentration. We are going to get the straight line graph. With the help of this graph, we can also determine the concentration of the unknown solution. The type of spectroscopic method of analysis. So the spectroscopy, which is based on electromagnetic radiation emission or absorption, can be of different kinds, but most common photometric methods which are used are colorimeter and spectrophotometry. The colorimeter range is 400 to 800 nanometer. It comes in the visible range, and spectrophotometry, which is 185 to 400 nanometer. So it means we are having visible 400 to 800 nanometer and IR spectroscopy 0.76 to 15 micrometer. Now the next part is the working of UV visible spectrophotometer. We have the two type UV visible spectrophotometer, single beam and double beam. First of all, I'll just explain the single beam UV visible spectrophotometer. In single beam UV visible spectrophotometer, first we take the light source, lamp, through which the light passes, and as you can see, it is not a polarized light, so it is first passed through the monochromator to convert the light to get the monochromatic light. Then after that, that monochromatic light means single wavelength light is passed through the chemical solution. Then after that, whatever the transmitted light comes out, that transmitted light is passed through detector, and if that transmitted light needs the amplification, then amplifier is used, and finally the recorder. If we consider the double beam UV visible spectrophotometer, then in that there is one more add-on thing. After passing the monochromatic light, then there is a vertical mirror and the two paths are there. The one path which is having the reference solution and then after the detector, and in another path there is sample and then after the detector, and finally the ratio and output. How it works, when the light is passed through the monochromator, you are going to get the single wavelength light. Then first we pass the light through the reference solution. Suppose if we are having the aqueous solution as a base, so as the water we are taking as a medium, so first we are going to pass the light through the water, then we are going to detect whatever the radiations we are getting. Then after that we are going to put the mirror and we will change the direction of the incident radiation, and that incident radiation then pass through the sample solution which we want to detect, then it goes to the detector, and then finally we compare both the results, we find out the ratio, and finally we got the output. Now next part is the components of UV visible spectrophotometer. The first part is sources of radiation. The sources of radiation means these are the lamps which provide the ultraviolet radiation or the visible radiation. If we want to get the ultraviolet radiation, then we can use the deuterium lamp because it covers the range 190 to 350 nanometer. If we want to get the visible range, then we can use the tungsten lamp. It covers 330 to 780 nanometer. Then second part is monochromator. What is the function of monochromator? The monochromator gives the single wavelength light. It gives the monochromatic light. So what are the major parts of that monochromator? There is a prism. There is a presence of prism which gives the monochromatic light. So if UV visible region is there, then we can use the quartz prism containing monochromator, and if visible region is there, then we can use the glass prism. The third and most important part is the sample holder, which is also known as cuvette. Now, if suppose we can use the sample in different form, we can use the sample in solution form, we can use the sample in solid form. So virtually all UV spectra are recorded in solution phase. And the cells, the cuvette, can be made up of plastic, glass or quartz. If we are using quartz cuvette, then it is transparent and the range of the cuvette which it covers is 200 to 700 nanometer. It means it is going to cover almost UV and visible region both. But if we are using the plastic or glass cuvette, it is only suitable for visible spectra. The next part is the detector. Detector is a part which is used to convert the electromagnetic radiations into electron flow, and then further it is converted into current or voltage. Now if suppose there is a requirement of amplification of this photocurrent, then it is amplified with the help of amplifier, and then finally it is recorded through digital display devices. These devices can be phototube or the photomultiplier tube or the photovoltaic tube. Any one of the device can be used for this purpose. Thank you.